Shalom La, Yahawah, Bahashem, YAHAWASHI, Bahashem, RACHAWADASH. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to the elect. That's what these lessons are for. All right, brothers, and those of you sisters that watch the shows, this is a short lesson due to the interest of time. It's about 5:45. I gotta leave out somewhere around the 6 o'clock hour to get to work at a decent time, or on time, I should say. Now we have queued up here on the screen Hebrew customs and manners of ancient times, and there's a multitude of books here that go into it about the customs and manners of the old world, or I should say the ancient world, dealing with the Hebrews. Any nation you go amongst have their culture and their customs and manners. Like, for instance, the Chinese, which are the people of Moab, okay, they do something with red envelopes where they stuff money in, periodically, to save money. And you go amongst any of these nations, they have their own customs and manners. So getting one of these books would be, good to understand the customs and manners of the Hebrews of the ancient world, which we know that, we are those Israelites. We are those people that came through, the sea with Moses, and that was given the laws, statutes, and commandments of YAHAWASHI. All right. So let's get a couple of examples of customs and manners of the ancient times. This is dealing with Laban when Jacob married Leah, but really he wanted to marry Rachel. So let's get a little gist of it, which you brothers know the story. All right. This is Genesis 29 and 21. It says, "And Jacob said unto Laban, Give me my wife." Now we know that he worked for Laban 7 years, okay? And he worked for Rachel, who Rachel was the younger daughter, all right? It says, "For my days are fulfilled, that I may go in unto her." So Jacob was all in love with Laban's daughter's Rachel. But check out what Laban did. "And Laban gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast. And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah, his daughter, and brought her to him, and he went in unto her." So pretty much what happened is that Jacob, during the feast, he ended up getting drunk, having a good time, happy that he's getting ready to get his bride. And all of a sudden, Laban pulled a switcheroo on him. It says, "And Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zilpah his maid for an handmaid. And it came to pass that in the morning, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, What is this that thou hast done unto me? Did I not serve with thee for Rachel? Wherefore then hast thou beguiled me?" And Laban said, It must not be so done in our country, to give the younger before the firstborn. So the custom was that the older daughter had to be married first instead of the younger daughter. Now today in this society, we don't do things like that. People get married, when they want to. But guess who practices this custom to this very day? The so-called Jew. All right. The small hats, they practice this custom to this very day. And I know for sure because my woman, she hit me to something that right along these lines about, this girl, she wanted to get married, but she had to wait for her elder sister to get married, or her elder sibling to get married. Okay. You see what I'm saying? So this is an ancient custom and manner of the old world. Now let's go into another one. This is the book of Ruth, chapter 4, verse 7. And I'm getting around to the point, so just bear with me for a moment. It says, now this was the manner in former time in Israel concerning redeeming and concerning changing. So the word redeem means to buy back, and changing means pretty much someone decided not to deal with something and set it off for somebody in their lineage to deal with it. Okay? It says, for to confirm all things, a man plucked off his shoe and gave it to his neighbor, and this was a testimony in Israel. And this is where the term comes from, if the shoe fits, wear it, you know, through the spirit. Hey, because if a guy was to say he was to deny those things, but you had that shoe, you could tell him, look, is this your shoe? Put this shoe on. The shoe fits, you know? You see what I'm saying? So he couldn't deny this custom and manner. Hey, because, you know, Jake is wicked. They had all kind of, you know, guile with them even to this very day. You see what Laban did, which Laban wasn't technically an Israelite, but did he come back as an Israelite? Absolutely. Now, we're in the book of Exodus chapter 26, verse 7. Now it says here, and thou shalt make curtains of goat's hair to be a covering upon the tabernacle. 11 curtains shalt thou make. So this was another custom. And this one I actually have an example of it, you know, the custom of the goat hair upon the tabernacle. This is what the Lord told us to do. Now, as you can see, the goat's hair is dark, okay? In the wilderness, you have it there, and it's like a covering from the sun. So check out this in the book of Isaiah, chapter 40, verse 22. It says, "It is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth." Right, for all you flat earthers, the earth is a sphere. When we look up this word circle, all right, in the Hebrew, what does it say? In the interlinear, it says a sphere, okay? A circle, a sphere. So the earth is not flat, the earth is a sphere, okay? So let's continue on. It is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth, and the inhabitants thereof are as grasshoppers, that stretcheth out the heavens as a curtain, and spreadeth them out as a tent to dwell in. So it goes back to the book of Exodus, with the Lord telling us to set it up like this. Set up the curtains of goat hair like this. Now, why does it make reference to the curtains of goat hair likened unto outer space? Hey, because outer space you'd see is dark and you'd see stars. Now, if you get up under this goat's hair tent, what happens is you'd have beads of light shining through. You see how it's dark, but you'd have beads of light shining through. And it was likened unto outer space with the stars. So this is why it was in comparison, you know, to setting up the tent. Okay? So these are things that we pretty much are out of touch with, but through the spirit, you know, YAHAWASHI is bringing us back to that, man. Okay? Now, the significance of this show is this right here. This is dealing with the Lord's crucifixion and when he was laid in the tomb of Joseph Arimathea. This is John chapter 20, and let's go to 1. All right. It reads, "The first day of the week cometh Mary Magdalene early, which Mary Magdalene was a fervent lover of YAHAWASHI, a fervent believer of YAHAWASHI. It says, when it was yet dark, unto the sepulchre, and seeth the stone taken away from the sepulchre. So she was the first one to see the stone. Well, you had the guys that were there, all right? She was the one to see the stone taken away from the sepulchre. She was one of them, that was familiar with the 12. It reads, then she runneth and cometh to Simon Peter, and to the other disciple whom YAHAWASHI loved, which we know that was John, and saith unto them, they have taken away the Lord out of the sepulchre, and we know not where they have laid him. Peter therefore went forth, and the other disciple, and came to the sepulchre. So they ran both together, and the other disciple did outrun Peter, and came first to the sepulchre. So we don't know, maybe Peter was out of shape, maybe he was a chubby brother, okay, and the other brother was more in shape, and he outran him, and he got there. The other brother John got there first. But what happened? And he stooped down, and looking in, saw the linen clothes laying, yet went he not in. Why? Because order. That's why. Peter was the first, okay, John was up next, but John didn't go in. He let Peter go in first. Then cometh Simon Peter following him, and went into the sepulchre, and seeth the linen clothes lay. All right, so the clothes that the Lord had on, that Joseph of Arimathea had put his body in, linen clothing, they were on the side. It says, and the napkin that was about his head, not lying with the linen clothes, but wrapped together in a place by itself. Now this here is also a Hebrew custom, okay, and we're gonna go into that. All right, so let's check this out. Let me see. Was that important? Absolutely. Is it really significant? Yes. In order to understand the significance of the folded napkin, all right, this is from Citizen Times, all right. The folded napkin had to do with the master and servant, and every Jewish boy knew this tradition. When the servant set the dinner table for the master, he made sure that it was exactly the way the master wanted it. The table was furnished perfectly, and then the servant would wait just out of sight until the master had finished eating. The servant would not dare touch the table until the master was finished. Now, if the master was finished eating, he would rise from the table, wipe his fingers and mouth, clean his beard, and wad up the napkin and toss it onto the table. And that happens to this very day. Here it is, you eating, I don't know, you might be eating a cheeseburger or something like that, okay, with some fries. You got all kind of ketchup and mayo and sauces and whatnot. And when you finish, you clean your fingers up and clean your mouth and your beard, with the napkin, and you wad it up and you throw it there, if you in a bar or something like that, to get it up out of there. All right. So the server or waiter could know that you're finished, right? But check this out. It says the servant would then know to clear the table. For in those days, the wadded napkin meant I'm finished. But if the master got up from the table, folded his napkin, and laid it beside his plate, the servant would not dare touch the table, because the folded napkin meant I'm coming back. So, what we can gather from YAHAWASHI, the napkin that was on his face being folded and laid to the side neatly, is that it meant that he was coming back. And it was an ancient tradition and custom, an ancient custom and manner of the Hebrews in that time. Okay? Because why? He was a Hebrew. All right? And he practiced those customs. Another custom was when the Sabbath came in, he would go to read at the synagogue. All right? You see what I'm saying? So what you have is, the small hat have adopted our ways and customs and keep it better than us. That's why you have this kid that runs around. He's from Chicago. His name is King Richard. He runs around, making these foully videos. But he went to one of them small hats and he told them, the black people are the real Jews. And what did the small hat tell him? He said, if you're the real Jew, do what the Jews would do. You see? And that's why the scriptures speak about us discontinuing from our heritage that the Lord gave us, man. Okay? We have discontinued from our heritage, but this is the time where the Lord is bringing us back to that heritage. All right? And it begins with this word. Now, I just want to read this real quick. I typed this in Google. Was YAHAWASHI's napkin folded? It says, the Gospel of John 20:7 tells us that the napkin which was placed over the face of YAHAWASHI was not just thrown aside like the other grave clothes. The Bible takes an entire verse to tell us that the napkin was neatly folded and was placed at the head of that stony coffin. Okay? Let's sit down here. All right. Hey, so this has been a short lesson. Look into picking up maybe one of these books and going into the ancient customs and manners of the Hebrews, so you can understand the ancient traditions better. Oh, another thing that's in this book, like for instance, in the scriptures it speaks about a man, disciple that was in YAHAWASHI's bosom. That doesn't mean that he was actually crying on the Lord's chest. That means that he was, when we sat down to meet, he was on the right hand side or the left hand side of YAHAWASHI, and everything that YAHAWASHI was putting down, he was picking it up as far as wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. He was there trying to catch every gem. So that's what it means when it says that he was in his bosom. That's also another ancient manner and customs of the Hebrews. All right. Lord will, this short lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, by Hashem YAHAWASHI, by Hashem Rakak Wadash, and Shalom to the elect.